Yo, what is going on YouTube? It's SunGod here, and today we're going to be doing a tier list for patch 14.19, and this tier list is going to be two tier lists. The first one is going to be for high elo, and the second one is going to be for lower elos. So what does high elo mean? Master plus, and finally lower elos is everything that's below masters. And do keep in mind that this tier list is through the eyes of someone that plays on a Chinese server, therefore some champions are going to be stronger in this specific region as opposed to like EU West and NA, for example. Alright, let's get started. So I won't explain too much as to why like a champion is at a certain point. However, I will give like a brief explanation as to why this champion is in this specific tier. Twitch, honestly, completely irrelevant, low damage, bad clear, and he only relies on cheesing, and for that reason he's going to be in D tier. Maokai, very situationally you will pick Maokai, but he's been severely nerfed. His clear is not that great anymore. He can work and he's definitely better than Twitch, but I do not recommend playing that champion. He's not that good right now. Gwen is an interesting one because as a champion she is extremely good when fed, however she is really abusable like in the early game, and for that reason she is going to be an A tier. Briar, I'm not really a big fan of Briar, mainly because it's too easy to counter like a Briar, to be fair. Like there is a lot of ways you can counter a Briar and play around her abilities, and she's not that relevant in the current meta right now. Wukong, another interesting one. Not often played, and a lot of people like underestimate Wukong's armor and skirmishes overall. Right now, like his build with Profane Hydra and Crit is often played, to be honest, and for that reason he's going to be an A tier. He is as strong as Gwen, stronger than Gwen in the early game as well. His 6 spikes a lot more because of the utility that he does provide in team fights, and for that reason he's going to be an A tier. Xin Zhao is really good right now. Like, he used to be on the weaker side, but in the current meta, I think Xin Zhao does quite decent, and for that reason, he's going to be an A tier. I can't put him in S or Z tier right now, just because the more meta junglers are much better than him right now. Zed is going to be in C tier. Zed doesn't provide anything to the team, quite frankly, and he is only picked situationally against specific matchups, such as Talia, for example. In that situation, he's extremely good, but in general, he's not doing too great right now. Warwick, honestly, I'm gonna put Warwick in C tier. I can't put him in D tier just because he's definitely gonna be more useful than Twitch, but Warwick just doesn't have the tools to like really carry games right now, and for that reason he's going to be in C tier. Bel'Veth, another really interesting one, just because old Bel'Veth used to be like an S tier champion, if not Z tier, but after the nerfs and after all the item changes, right now she's around B tier. Not as strong as Gwen, Wukong, or Xin Zhao, but she does quite decently into matchups where she has like agency, like in the early game. Graves is going straight to A tier. A lot of people have been playing him with Dark Harvest and finding a lot of success with him. He's extremely common in China. People love playing him, playing him extremely aggressive and playing to really dominant games. He's most definitely like a 1v9 champion, and he's really like he's in a really good spot right now. Evelyn is gonna go in B tier. Honestly, like teams don't really want like an Evelyn in their team comp. She doesn't really do well into more meta junglers, and for that reason she's going to go in B tier. Mastery unfortunately falls quite short. There's not a lot of people playing Mastery right now, and it's really easy to counter Mastery if you know what you're doing, and just because the Chinese server is extremely mechanical, they know exactly who to focus. For that reason he's gonna go in C tier. Talon will go in A tier. He's most definitely a really good champion, is fairly weak in the early game, but people are able to pull him off quite well in high elo, and he is like one of my favorite champion right now, along with Graves and other champions. So for that reason, he's gonna go in A tier. This is not biased, by the way. Like he is extremely good, but he is often misunderstood by Western regions. Jarvan is gonna go in C tier. So this one is gonna be a surprise for a lot of you guys, mainly because you think that, oh, Jarvan is really good, I do really well, but in high elo, people know how to play against Jarvan and play against them as a team, and for that reason he's gonna go in C tier, just because he can't really do anything like in the early game, loses most of his matchups, and for that reason he's gonna go in C tier. Nocturne, honestly, Nocturne, again, C tier, not really relevant right now. Does get countered way too hard by meta junglers, gets abused fairly easily as well, and for that reason it's gonna go in C tier despite his utility, right? Like Maokai has a lot of utility, J4 has a lot of utility, and so does Nocturne with his ult, but the early game as well as the mid game and the skirmishes are what's really important in a server. Rumble is gonna go in D tier. I'm very sad after the nerfs. Rumble doesn't really do quite well. His clear is really bad. His damage is fairly low as well, and for that reason, he's gonna go in D tier. And before, like Rumble jungle was honestly hidden OP, but right now he is not hidden at all. Like he is really bad, and he's just gonna go in D tier. Viego is gonna go in B tier. Not sure what really happened to this jungler. Like I used to play him a lot, especially like in early season, but right now he just doesn't feel as oppressive as he once used to be, and for that reason he's gonna go in B tier. Udyr. So again, this is gonna be super controversial, and a lot of people are gonna be like, dude, what is actually happening here? But Udyr is not Z tier, he's not S tier, he's not A tier, he's not B tier, he's gonna go C tier. Why is Udyr in C tier? So honestly, like I've looked at other tier lists of like other coaches and players and all that stuff, and they actually put like Udyr quite highly, and I was really surprised because not only is this champion like very rarely picked in China, but he is also like never picked for a reason, and for that reason is that he's just way too easy to counter mechanically, and most meta junglers just completely outperform Udyr, and there's absolutely nothing he can do against those type of champions. And you know, his ganks are not very threatening as well, and it's just too easy to counterplay. Elise is gonna go straight into Z tier. She's gonna get buffed next patch, and she is fairly good right now, but this champion is really good. She does a lot of damage. Her early is really insane. So she's really often picked in China, especially right now. So she's just gonna go in Z tier just because of how good she is right now. Next is gonna go to Lilia. So I looked at the patch notes, but I was not able to find like the Lilia nerfs. Like they talked about Lilia nerfs, and if you guys have more information on this, feel free to like keep me updated on this. But if I don't see like any nerf on Lilia, she is going to stay in Z tier. She is Z tier right now. Like Lilia is just honestly complete cancer. She's just too good of a champion. Like her team fights are too good, her clear are too good, her tempo is way too good, utility is too good, true damage, movement speed, like she literally has it all. Like she's going straight into Z tier. Olaf is D tier, like never picked, low damage, and you know, like it's funny because in other regions you'll probably be able to make Olaf work fairly decently, but in China it's just way too hard to make Olaf work. People dodge way too well, and they play way too good against like an Olaf, and it's just not playable. Like I tried playing this champion, it's just not playable. Zyra, unfortunately Zyra is D tier. Again, as a champion, she's really strong, her clear is really good, that I hear you, but Zyra is just way too weak in the early game, and enemy team will just look to perma-invade you and completely mess up your early game. She's just not playable in China, especially in high elo. Gragas is a disruptor, or as you call it, like a neutralizer, and for that reason he is going to go into C tier. He's a situational champion, like sometimes like kind of like Zed, right? He's going to either be like really good like in A tier, or if you always pick like a Gragas or a Zed, like it will just fall short, like you're gonna be in C tier. Bren, same reason as Zyra. Even though the champion is strong, like even right now, I think in Europe, like he doesn't have like a high win rate, but he's just never picked in China just because his early game or his utility and all that stuff is just not there, and meta junglers completely dominate this champion. Pantheon is an interesting one because he's gonna go in B tier for me. I like this champion actually. A lot of people don't really play him, and I don't really understand why. Like, he has very decent early game. His clear is actually really good if you know how to clear with him, and he does fairly decently actually. Like, his ult is very threatening. It gives you like global map pressure, and he doesn't even fall short. Like, you can even build Pantheon as a bruiser with like bruiser items, and you'll do like quite well actually. I like this champion. I'm even hesitating to put him on A tier to be honest, but I'm not gonna do that. Talia is S tier. Even after the nerfs, she is just way too good of a champion. She goes around the map fairly fast, her damage is high, her clear is good, and obviously her ulti is really threatening. So S tier for me, and for other high elo players as well. Vi, a situational champion, but still fairly decent, I would say. Not seen a lot on a Chinese server, but the few people that do play her do play quite well, so she's gonna go in B tier. Echo is A tier, a really good 1v9 champion. His late game is absolutely nuts, especially with like his 20-second ults. His damage is really high, he's really safe after level 6, his clear is not even that bad, his ganks are pretty terrifying if you know how to play him, so for that reason he's gonna go in A tier. Kiana, honestly complete trash, you shouldn't play her. I don't know what to say, she's just bad. Nidalee, instant Z tier, the strongest champion on the Chinese server by far. In high elo, she just has like 100% pick and ban rates. She's just way too strong. Darius, trash. Like, I don't know. I don't even know why people would ever pick him. He's just not good. Rengar. It makes me sad to put him in D tier, guys. It really does. But this champion sucks. Like, he is just terrible, and you guys know how much I play Rengar, how much I love Rengar, but his damage is bad. He does really badly in the early game. Everything about the champion sucks. The items on the champion sucks. He doesn't snowball quite as well as before. For that reason, my boy is gonna find himself in D tier. I'm really sorry, bro. Volibear, B tier. I don't think this champion is too crazy. He does act like a good frontliner, however, but he does get Kaya way too easily, but he is still like quite an oppressive champion if the team comp is great for him. Kayn is gonna go into C tier. Very rarely played. The entire point of Kayn is to get your form like in the early game, right? And it's really hard if people don't let you get your form, and you will get abused way too quickly. It's extremely hard to snowball with this champion on the Chinese server, and that's why he's gonna go into C tier. Sorry. Shaco, D tier. Absolute trash of a champion. Same thing as Rengar, right? He doesn't really do decently ever, and there's no reason to pick Shaco over some other champions, except if you want to play like the AP variant and just act annoying around the map, but other than that, there's absolutely no reason to pick Shaco ever. Shyvana, I'm sorry guys, but she's gonna go into D tier. So D tier is quite sad to see, but I will explain why she's in D tier. And it's not going to be like the typical reason, and that typical reason is going to be, oh, but she's weak early. That's not the reason as to why, but it's partially why. The reason as to why is people are just too oppressive if you play Shyvana. Like, high-elo players in China understand that you're Shyvana, you're irrelevant like in the early game, and literally everyone will play for your camps, for your jungle, put vision everywhere, counter jungle you like 24/7, and Shyvana cannot do anything against that. And for that reason, she will go into D tier. Rek'Sai is gonna go into B tier. I think Rek'Sai is quite solid. She's very rarely played, but I really enjoy this matchup on most junglers, and I do see like some people excel quite well at her, so she's gonna go into B tier. Neeko is honestly B tier as well. Not a lot of people play her, but if you're really good at Neeko, and there are like a few people actually that do play Neeko jungle, she is extremely oppressive actually. Sejuani D tier, honestly trash. Nothing can really do as Sejuani, even situationally. Like all those meta junglers completely shit on her. Skarner, same thing, gets completely destroyed by the 3 first tiers, so you just can't pick this champion. Kha'Zix S tier, so I'm happy to see like an assassin, like an AD assassin, like as high up as Kha'Zix. It does make me quite sad to see Rengar and Shaco and Kayn and Zed and all that stuff like very low, but Kha'Zix is the only AD assassin that works. He's extremely good right now. Not as good as Z tier, but most definitely up there if you're looking to carry games as an assassin. Kai'Sa trash. Kindred is gonna go into A tier. A lot of people do play him and do enjoy his playstyle, his aggressive playstyle on a Chinese server, so she's just gonna go into A tier. Nunu trash. Karthus is gonna go into A tier. I think Karthus, I mean, you guys probably know why he's this high, but a really oppressive Karthus player, and if you're really good at hitting your Qs and you stack your Dark Harvest, chances are you'll still get kills despite dying to like enemy jungler. You will win a lot of team fights or skirmishes, and your tempo is really high. For that reason, it's gonna go into A tier. He's just not as good as Telly though. Fiddle is also gonna go into A tier. The reason as to why Fiddle is this high is mostly due to the fact that he's really good at stalling time. It's really hard to counter jungle Fiddlestick. Like, he will sustain a lot, fear you, and he has like his vision thingies with his passive. So for that reason, he's gonna go into A tier. He's a solo champion. Sylas D tier trash. Diana, honestly, like, she is probably gonna go into C tier. I was debating whether to put him on D tier or C tier, but Diana isn't as strong as she once used to be, unfortunately, and there's absolutely zero reason to pick Diana over any other mage that are higher than her right now. And you might argue and say, oh, but if you have a Yasuo, it's nice. No, like, the champion just gets completely shown by every single champions above her. And feel free to disagree, but that's the current state, like in high elo right now. Next is going to be Hecarim. So Hecarim is instant D tier, and you guys might get surprised by this, but he is just way too weak early game. There's absolutely nothing he can do. He will get counter jungled by every single of these junglers, and he just can't really farm on the Chinese server, and for that reason he's gonna go into D tier. And some people might argue and say, yeah, but like, what if you do get your first clear off, or you know, you can come back in the game with Eclipse? By that point, like, a really good Chinese jungler will already be like way higher in terms of tempo and will outlevel you and will be way stronger than you. Will be able to do much more things, get more objectives. If for that reason, Hecarim is gonna go into D tier. Rammus D tier, too situational. Like you only pick Rammus if they have like hard AD, no true damage, max percent HP. But most champions, especially like in the current meta, do have that, and for that reason Rammus is gonna go into D tier. Zac is gonna go into B tier. I'm happy to see a tank actually this high up. Zac is actually, let's put him in A tier. Zac is gonna go into A tier just because he is the best tank as a jungler right now. That's not a contest, and the reason for that being is his ganks are good, his clears are good, his damage is absolutely nuts, the utility provides is nuts, his passive is great for stalling, and for that reason he's gonna go into A tier. Lee Sin is also A tier. Most mechanical junglers will play Lee Sin, but he's just not as good as these 5 champions. And for that reason, he's gonna go into A tier. It's quite easy to snowball with him. He's great. He's consistent. Ivern, trash. Sad to say, but he is. I have no doubt that on EU and NA he's much higher up, but on the Chinese server he's just not good, irrelevant. Amumu is gonna go into B tier. I am quite aware of how strong Amumu is right now, especially like on the Western servers, but Amumu just, despite being strong, is just not as strong as those 3 tiers. Like, feel free to disagree, but like I said, I do think that Amumu just gets completely out-tempoed by more meta junglers, and really good mechanical players will be able to pull off these champions much better than Amumu overall. Jax is going to be trash. I'm sorry guys, but he's just not good right now. All right. So let's switch things up from bot to top for lower elos, and this is going to be like a more general list. It's not going to be for Chinese server, but it's going to be for every single servers as well as the champions themselves. All right, so I'm gonna put Ivern in S tier. I think Ivern, like if you do decide to OTP him, he's gonna be great, and I do think you'll find success. Same thing for Hecarim, he's gonna go into S tier. We're gonna keep Sylas in C tier. Kaisa is gonna stay there. Nunu is gonna stay there. Skarner, I'll put him in B tier. I don't think Skarner. I think Skarner is pretty good in like lower elos, and skirmishes are fine. He's really easy to pilot. Sejuani will stay in D tier. Shyvana will go into A tier. Shaco, we're keeping him in D tier. I just don't want you guys to play him. He's just not good. Rengar, please don't play him. He's really bad. Zyra, you'll be able to pull off Zyra quite fine, especially like in lower elos. She's a very solid champion. But the higher you go, the less you'll be able to pull her off. And yeah, D tier looks fairly decent right now. Let's move on to C tier. So we have Maokai, we'll keep him there. We'll put Warwick into B tier. I think he's much better than a C tier champion right now. Nocturne is gonna go into A tier. Same for Deer, same for Jarvan. And we're gonna keep those champions there, and we're gonna switch Kayn in B tier as well as Diana. Not a lot of C tier champions, but we're gonna move some people down, trust me. Briar is easy to pull off. I think Belveth is quite nice. I do think Evelyn is gonna go into C tier. Evelyn, despite how she is actually quite hard mechanically. Like, there are like a few intricacies about Evelyn that you guys might not know, and for that reason she's gonna go into C tier. Next we're gonna have Rek'Sai into C tier. Nico is gonna go into C tier as well. Amumu will quite frankly go into Z tier. just because he is really easy to pilot, and you'll be able to consistently carry games with him right now. He's just extremely good. And that's pretty much it for B tier. We're gonna keep those champions here. I like it. Next, Gwen is gonna stay here. Wukong is unfortunately gonna go back to C tier. Mechanically, is way too hard for most people to play him at a very high level, so he's gonna stay into C tier for now. We're gonna keep those champions here. Talon is gonna go into C tier again. Same thing, way too hard mechanically, hard to pull off. Same thing for Lee Sin, is gonna go into B tier, and yeah, I like the state of A tier right now. So if you want to climb, those A tier champions will definitely do the trick. Next, we're gonna keep those champions here. Even if you're low elo and you want to get some LP, like those champions are gonna do more than fine. And finally, let's switch up the Z tier. So we're gonna keep Lilia, we're gonna keep Amumu, and quite frankly, I'm even willing to keep Elise, but Nidalee is gonna go into D tier. Sorry for that, guys. Like, she is a really insane champion, but if you're any elo below masters, please don't play her. You're just not good at jungle. It's not like you're not good at jungle, but you're not good enough at jungle in order to pull her off quite efficiently. And I'm gonna emphasize on that. Just do not play her unless you really master jungle at a really high level. And that's about it, guys. Feel free to comment if you have like any change you would like for me to make here, or if you disagree or agree with some of my points. I quite appreciate it. Make sure to like and subscribe. See you guys.